Today, we're going to be talking about the G3D turret bow holder. One of the accessories that I wanted to put on my stand was a bow holder. Here in Michigan, you can't screw anything into the tree, so having a screw-in bow holder is just not possible on public land. That just leaves you with hanging your bow on a branch or something like that, which can work, definitely, but it's not a guarantee that it's going to be exactly where you want it or something like that. So I wanted a way to hang my bow to my stand. So I was looking at a couple different bow holders for the stand. And in full transparency, Austin is a buddy of mine. I love to support his company. I think he makes fantastic products. So I wanted to give his turret bow holder a shot. Got the original one here mounted up, and it was working great. What I really like about it is this arm folds in. There's like a plastic Delrin washer there, so you can still move this. There's a nylon lock nut on the inside here that mounts the top to the base, and then that Delrin washer allows for it to still move even though it's tightened down. So I really like that you could fold it out of the way. But the issue with the rotation here, though, is that I had it rotated down, and somehow the cable got stuck in between, and then when I set it up, it actually put enough pressure on one of the bolts here to rotate it down. And that's an issue because, being a right-handed shooter, the bow tilts forward, which puts that pressure on that same bolt, which actually loosens it. So I cranked it down, I retightened this bolt. I actually stripped the shit out of this bolt, this Allen key bolt here, pushed it back, everything like that, but it's still just, as you can see, it takes no force whatsoever to loosen up. And that's which way the bow needs to be held on. That's what all the pressure gets put that way. And the issue came from this lock washer here. And what this lock washer does is basically has spikes on either side of it that grip the square post and grips the mounting surface, this mounting plate, locking it into place. But those teeth are not very big, and so as soon as it moves once, it cuts a groove in. It completely lost its bite. So once that groove is etched in there, those teeth can't grip onto anything, and it's essentially rendered useless. So that bit nicely on this post. Here's where it just stripped it out. It's a good design. It works until you have that failure. If I was a left-handed shooter and the bow tilted that way, it would always be self-tightening. So maybe I wouldn't have a problem. I don't know. And when I bought this, he said he was working on a new design, but I was like, it seems to be working fine so far. Didn't have any issues until the cable got caught in there and it etched out that groove. And I was like, yeah, honestly, it's useless. Like, I would never use this thing, to be honest with you. So he's like, all right, I'm finalizing the new design. Let me send it out to you. Let me know your thoughts. So I got that here. And the cool part about this is it doesn't use that locking ring anymore. It simply has two bolts that go into the aluminum mounting plate. So there's no extra nuts or anything that you have to worry about. It all locks together. And you can position it any way you want, lock it down, and then it should be good. Good part about this new design here is it actually mounts onto the existing bracket, so you don't need any extra nuts, bolts, anything like that. You don't have to move it. If it's locked in exactly where you want it, you're good. So all you have to do is just take out that lock nut, put this on. He actually made it a little bit taller too, so it'll sit up a little bit higher, which will be good because, typically I like to stand up. The bow, yeah, it's pretty far down, but it's still, within range. This just raises it up another inch or so. So that's a nice little feature. Obviously, I haven't installed it yet, so I still have to see, but I wanted to kind of explain those differences, make a video about it, and go through those differences. So taking this new bracket apart, one thing I'd really like to see would be some thread locker on here. So I'm going to put some blue thread locker just to be safe, prevent any sort of screw backing out. But it's a nice simple design. That's all it is. It's going to mount up like that. It's going to allow it to pivot. Once you lock it down, obviously there's not going to be any noise because it's going to be locked down. I'm going to tape everything just because I don't like any exposed metal. I just think this new design here is going to work so much better than this old design. This locking nut here, locking washer just wasn't a good long-term robust solution. I think once we get some blue Loctite on here to lock that system down, it's going to be really good. All right, so we're outside. Got the stand mounted up on my bow, and this is how I am going to practice mount it, figure out what angle I want. So I'm going to slide it in here, have it sit on that part of the cam or the part of the limb. Keep it back just a bit. I want it almost upright. Here we go. So now it's in the temporary position. I'm going to mark it. Good. Okay, back inside. I have everything marked. I have my witness marks here. 3 of them. So I know exactly where that bolt needs to be. Ironically, it's pretty much at 90, but just slightly off. Yeah, so there's my witness marks. You can tell it's just slightly off 90, but pretty dang close. So I got that little bit of blue Loctite in there, just to be safe because there is no locking feature. So look at my witness marks. Everything's all lined up, all 3. So with those witness marks there, if anything ever does happen, I know exactly where, it's hard to see that one, but it's there. I know exactly where it needs to be. Like on my bow, has them for my stabilizers. I put it around my peep sight, around my D-loop. Like I put witness marks everywhere, just because you never know. So those are snug. Gonna tighten them up more once this gets mounted on here. But you have that nylon or Delrin plastic, whatever it is there. There's another washer up underneath here that has just stayed there. So, and what I have found is a set of wire strippers. And don't get at me, it's rusty as shit, I know, drives me nuts. This doesn't have to be super tight, because you still want it to be able to rotate fairly easily. A little bit more, so I can finish tightening these down so everything is secure. Get our post on. Everything's looking good. It's exactly where I want it to be, so we're good. That rotates nice and smooth. One thing I am going to do too is I'm going to move this back. I want it back here, just my testing. I think it would be better back here. So I'm going to do that. And the reason why I have the bolts facing out is because I do plan on hunting hybrid with this, which means I'm going to be standing up here. So it's just less that could be interfering with my boots. One final thing while I'm here and I have everything out. It's worth doing, it's worth overdoing, right? So that's it. That's the installation there. I'm going to make sure everything is taped off so there's no exposed metal here, kind of like what you can see here. So I'll get everything taped, and these threads are nice and covered with the heat shrink. So I think this new design is going to be great. I'm just going to have to watch that cable. G3D turret bow holder.